Oh hey, how you going? Alice here. Welcome back to my channel. Before I jump into this video, I just want to quickly explain why the name change. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll already know, but I've recently made the decision to stop being identified as the makeup mechanic. How I came up with the name was in 2018 during my makeup artistry course. It was coming towards the end of the course and we had to start thinking how to brand ourselves, business names, all that type of jazz, and I was like, well, I used to be a mechanic and now I'm about to be a makeup artist. Bada bing, bada boom, just call me the makeup mechanic. And it made sense and it was awesome and I really love the name. But now I no longer work on cars and I didn't follow the makeup artistry path. The most I have to do with makeup is what I do on this channel. So now that I am building an online business and my day job is working in the aged care industry, it just didn't make sense to be called the makeup mechanic. Had a massive identity crisis and I made the decision to drop the name. It was tough. I freaking love that name so much and it's been a massive part of me for so long, but now it just no longer fits, So that's why the name changed. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different to my usual content. I created this channel to not only entertain people and make people laugh, I also wanted to create like a positive space where people could come and learn some things and feel better about themselves and to just help bring people up. The reason I'm talking about this topic today on how to overcome insecurity issues is because I've been battling a lot of insecurity issues my entire life. I spent over 2 decades thinking I was ugly and letting my insecurities get the best of me and just pretty much controlling and just really limiting my life. But over the past 2 years since starting my online business, I have dedicated so much time into working on myself and bettering myself and building my mental strength. And I just really want to share with you guys what I've learned over the past couple of years in the hopes that it can help other people get through their insecurity issues as well, whatever they may be. This video and this topic just means so much to me. This is actually my 4th time filming it because I just haven't been happy with it and I've just been wanting to be perfect, even though I know there's no such thing. It means so much to me because I know there's just so many people out there that are battling with insecurity issues as well. And it's because we're constantly comparing ourselves to these drop-dead gorgeous goddesses on Instagram, and it's just such a waste of our time and energy. Before I get into my story, I think it's really important to firstly know and understand how the brain works, because it's freaking incredible. But me explaining science is just not my forte. If you haven't heard of Mel Robbins, please go stalk her after this on every platform. She's absolutely incredible. I'm going to insert a little clip of her explaining how a particular part of our brain works because I'm going to be referring to this a lot throughout the rest of the video. Alright, so inserting clip now.
Your brain has a system in it. Here's the technical term. It's called the reticular activating system. It is a network of neurons all up in here. And what is the job of the reticular activating system? It is a filter system. It's basically a system that allows certain information in your brain and it blocks out other information. And guess who programmed that filter? You did. And so did the people from your past. And so if you constantly feel like you're unlovable, guess what? Your reticular activating system is going through the day and it is going to point out every single piece of evidence that confirms that negative belief that you have.
How incredible are our brains, right? Your reality is based on what you focus on and how you choose to interpret it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
When I first learned this, my mind was blown and it just made everything make so much sense. And that's when I learned that, holy crap, I had programmed my filters absolutely terribly. I had programmed my brain into thinking that I was just hideously ugly and nobody could change my mind about it.
Don't look at me.
For instance, my filters just would not accept compliments. I have only just in the past couple of years started accepting compliments. I am really good at complimenting other people. Like if I have a nice thought about someone, they're gonna hear it because I love bringing people up. I really enjoy giving compliments, but I could never receive them. I just wouldn't accept it. Brain was just like, no, they're just complimenting you back out of pity. They don't actually think that about you. And then I would name about 3 things ugly about me just to really like neutralize that compliment. It took like a couple of years of working on myself to actually just start accepting compliments and saying thank you. So my first tip is when people give you a compliment, just say thank you. I know it sounds simple, but I know there's so many people out there that also have trouble accepting compliments. Just say thank you. Someone said something nice about you. Say thank you. I'm gonna be really exposing myself in this video, not like physically, just, you know, like emotionally. I'm gonna be sharing some pretty sad stories. One really embarrassing story that I'm still really up in the air about whether to share and put on the internet forever. But the only reason why I'm sharing my story is so you guys can understand just how deep my insecurity issues went, so you can see just how far I've come. And honestly, I feel like if I can get past my insecurity issues, then anybody can. All right, now, a lot of my, I mean, let's be real, all of my insecurity issues stem from me being a ginger. So I know that a lot of my fellow redheads are going to be able to really connect with my story. Every redhead I've spoken to has had to deal with the same shit and overcome the same kind of insecurity issues. Although I know that redheads will really connect with this video really is for everybody with insecurity issues, and whatever you're insecure about, just make it relatable to you, you know? That being said, I'm gonna start the story on where my insecurity issues all began. So from a very early age, I'd programmed my filters to thinking I was ugly. I actually remember when it all started, and I actually started thinking this way in preschool. Yup, pretty sad considering that you got to be under 5 to go to preschool. So I would have been like 3 or 4 years old. And I guess it's because preschool's the first environment where you're away from your family and around people your age, so you can just start comparing yourself to people straight away, which is just so lovely. I knew from a very early age that I looked a little bit different to everybody else. I remember going in there and being like, wait a minute, where's everybody's freckles? Whoa, why is everybody so tan? Why is everybody blonde or brunette? Why does nobody else have orange hair? What is going on here? And for some reason, all my friends throughout my entire life have just been the most beautiful, prettiest girls ever. So I would always compare myself to them. They would always get boys' attention, and I just kind of felt really invisible. Okay, now this is the embarrassing story that I was really tossing up whether to share, because I haven't even told people in real life. I find it really sad and embarrassing, and now I'm going to be putting it on the internet for like life. But the only reason I'm sharing this is so you guys can see just how insecure I was, and also because, and it's a story about my freckles, and when people now it's my most complimented feature. Like my hair and my freckles is now my most complimented feature. Go figure. But now when people compliment my freckles, I'll be like, oh, thank you. Took me a few years, but can finally say thank you. But I was like, I used to hate them, and people would be like, oh, like no. But I'm like, no, you don't realize how much I used to hate them. And this is why I'm sharing this story, so you guys can understand just how much I hated them. Okay, so it was primary school. I would have been under 10 years old, I reckon. We had this man come in. It was like a little hour class or something of teaching us how school was back in the day. You know, like with the cane and stuff. We had to learn how to write like cursive with ink and stuff, and it was pretty fun. It was a cool day. But then he started sharing a story. He was talking about how if you had extremely fair skin, you were considered like the most beautiful of them all. And here's me like, well, I was born in the wrong era, wasn't I? And then he said, but if you had freckles, well, freckles were considered extremely ugly. And then he proceeds to look at me. And then so does the rest of the class. Fantastic. My filter's going crazy. Like, see, everybody, even this grown man thinks your freckles are ugly. I don't understand why he did that. I still don't. And I was like 7, and it's like burned into my memory. And then he went on and he said parents would do anything to help their freckled kids get rid of their freckles. You know, some people would like bleach skin, like, no thank you. And the mums would chase around their freckled kids with wet nappies, like with pee on them from their babies, because pee helps get rid of freckles. And then of course everyone's laughing. We're a bunch of kids talking about wiping wet nappies on freckled kids' faces. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there trying not to like bawl my eyes out. Every time I looked in the mirror, I just absolutely hated seeing all these dots all over my face. And then that night and this is the embarrassing part, I got a jug, peed in the jug, got a little cotton ball, and just started dabbing it on my face to try and get rid of these freckles. I just wish I could go back and be like, what the fuck? It's really sad to talk about, and again, I'm just really embarrassed about putting this on the internet, but I mean, I was like under 10, that insecure that I was willing to put my own wheat on my face to try and get rid of these freckles. The only reason I wanted to share this is to show you guys, like, I hated them. To be able to do that, like, yeah, I really did hate them. That's my embarrassing story. Things kind of got, you know, worse as school went on. I remember in year 5 or 6, I remember the first time I got called Ranger. I was standing on the field with a bunch of people, and one of the popular guys came over and he was just like, huh, you're a Ranger. And I was like, what's that? And he was just like, you're a Ranger. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not a Ranger, what the hell is that? And he's like, because of your hair, because it's orange, like an orangutan, you're a Ranger. Oh no, there's a word. know, there's just so much ammunition and so many jokes against gingers. It's just not fair.
I'm getting sick and tired of everyone making fun of red-haired people.
You know, you've got, oi Ranger, haha, ginger. Freckle fat from Kmart. Have you ever tried playing dot to dot with your freckles? Did you know that each one of your freckles is from a soul that you've taken? Haha, Fanta pants. Haha, you've got no soul.
We do have souls, alright?
There's just so much. There's way too many things that you can take the piss out of gingers for. And it's not a good time when you're a wee little ginger.
It really irritates me.
And then of course in high school that just kind of continued. You know, I'll try to act like it didn't affect me and I'll just try to like crack jokes back at them, but I was like full defense mode. Every time someone mentioned something about me being redhead, filters be going crazy. Someone would confirm my negative belief about myself and it would just make me hate my appearance even more. And this was all before social media as well, like before it even existed. So I can't even imagine what children are going through these days with Instagram from such a young age. We didn't even have that and I still had all these insecurity issues. Like it just, So in high school, I became an undercover ginger. I bleached my hair blonde for like 6 years, I think. Just killed it, destroyed it. I hid a huge part of who I am for so long because I just couldn't deal with all this stuff that came with the hair color. I actually finished my last 4 years of high school in New Zealand and I was blonde for that whole 4 years I lived in New Zealand. So like nobody knew except my close friends that I was actually an actual redhead. And in New Zealand, they called them gingers. So I just was like, nope, I'm not getting called something even worse than Ranger, no thank you. And so I just hid for like 6 years. But I had a couple of ginger friends who just really owned it and I was just so jealous of them. I'm like, they didn't even care about being called Ranger. Their hair was just glistening in the sunshine. Seeing my ginger friends own it, I was like, I want to freaking own it. But things started to change after high school, as they generally do. When in the process of getting back to natural, I started a mechanic apprenticeship, being in a male-dominated industry for 4 years. It was eye-opening. It made me realize that guys really do not have the same standards as we do towards women. Like, we put so much pressure on ourselves for our appearance and everything. Like, our standards are up here. We're comparing ourselves to, like, supermodels. And guys' standards, they just don't care as much as we do. I mean, there are definitely some guys out there that only focus on girls' appearance and will put girls down because of their appearance. But those guys are what we call assholes. And who cares what an asshole thinks? The only thing that comes out of assholes is shit. But it wasn't until I started my business 2 years ago that I really started to work on myself. The most important thing that we focus on in Arbonne is personal development. I didn't even know what that was before I started. I was like, what the hell is personal development? That sounds kind of lame. What do you mean? A better version of yourself? People can't change. This is who I am. I'm just stuck like this. Oh my God. I was just so close-minded. I just thought, you know, this was the way I was and things weren't going to change. But yeah, no, you can work on yourself and you can become a better version of yourself. That's for sure. I started reading personal development books. See? I read now. Each book has seriously changed my life in some sort of way. Just learning how the mind works is absolutely life-changing. I also started listening to podcasts. I used to hate podcasts. I'm a music all the time, jamming in the car type of person, and I've had to force myself to listen to podcasts because I used to just find listening to people talk was boring. And now it stimulates me so much and I learn so much from each podcast that I have to listen to one a day now. And I feel like if I listen to music, I'm not stimulating my mind and I'm not growing. I still listen to music all the time, but I've got to listen to at least one podcast a day. Highly recommend listening to Rob Dahl, the Mindset Mentor. Just incredible. Makes everything so simple. So many love punches. He's just amazing. I also started watching inspirational videos on YouTube and just surrounding myself with positive people. There's so many people out there that are dedicating their lives to help people grow and develop and become the best versions of themselves. And it's all available at our fingertips. But so many of us don't even know what's out there. And most of us just aren't even taking the time or don't realize the importance of taking the time to work on yourself. It took me a couple of years and it is constant work. Like I have to work on myself daily and work on your mindset daily, because if you are a negative thinker, that is a habitual way of thinking, right? You've programmed your filters to thinking like that, and that is now a habit. Trying to change yourself from being a negative thinker to a positive thinker takes effort. You know, it's like learning to write with your right hand to learning to write with your left hand. You're changing a habit that's so deeply embedded and it takes constant work. But oh my God, is it worth the work? Like being on the other side, I really hope that people take the time to work on themselves because it is the best way you can ever spend your time. So here's some of my tips on how to overcome your insecurity issues. The first step is understanding that whatever your insecurities are, however you think, you have programmed your brain to think like that and you are the only person who can change it. These are your beliefs, and your beliefs come from, you know, your upbringing, your parents, the people that you surround yourself with, your environment, you know, things you consume like TV. Everything around you creates your beliefs and you're the only one that can change them. Tip number 2, The conversations that you have with yourself are the most important conversations you will ever have, so make sure that they're good ones. Never say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to somebody else. Number 3, the only thing that you have control over in this world, the only thing, you can't control anything that happens in this world except for your thoughts. Your thoughts control your feelings and your feelings control your actions. My negative thoughts made me do things that I'm not proud of. Whatever you've done in your past is all part of your journey and it's what's led you to who you are today. And you're in full control of who you are today and tomorrow. Tip number 4, say thank you when people give you compliments. Number 5, as soon as a negative thought creeps in, and they will, but the first thing to do is acknowledge it. Tell that stupid voice to shut the hell up. Then say 3 things positive about yourself. And as Rob Dahl says, you can never control your first thought, but you can always control your second. Step 6, I think. Best advice is to read books, listen to podcasts, watch inspirational videos, surround yourself with positive people, brainwash yourself into thinking positive, and start reprogramming your filters. Number 7, when you discover your self-worth, no one else's opinion really matters anymore. No one can ever hurt you without your consent. Oh, and this is my favorite quote. If there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. This is my favorite quote because it is true. If someone called me ugly a few years ago, it would have cut me so deep. And it did. But now, people can say whatever the hell they want. I don't care. I don't even care about being called Ranger now. It's who I am. I am a Ranger. Loud and proud.
I'm redheaded and I'm proud of it.
It took me over 2 decades for these words to be able to leave my mouth, but I can now finally say that I am beautiful and I love who I am. And if you haven't heard it today, you are beautiful too. Last thing, do you know the odds of you being born? 1 in 400 trillion. With a T. And you're gonna waste your precious time on this earth worried about your looks. I wasted so much time worrying about my looks when I really should have been focusing on all the things I had to be grateful for. If you're lucky enough to have all 5 senses, if you can breathe unassisted, if you're able to eat and enjoy your food, you can go to the bathroom by yourself, shower yourself, if you have full control over your body, if you're above ground for God's sake, then you have so much to be grateful for. So last tip is stop focusing on what you don't have and start being grateful for the things that you do have. Today, you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you. Yes, I'm ending with a Dr. Seuss quote. Just own who you are. Nobody else out there in this entire, out of billions of people, is like you. You have been given this opportunity to be on this earth, to live a life however you want it. It's just such a waste of our precious time and energy if we're so consumed in our appearance, you know? Like there's so much to be grateful for.
I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it. Be happy.
If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Every like helps. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you'd like more videos like this, or if something has resonated with you, please leave it in the comments below. If you made it this far into the video, it means that you must like me, so please hit that big red subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. And if this really resonated with you and you know people who need to hear this message, then please feel free to share this video. Alright, love you guys, you're beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye!